Think about the architecture of a massive skyscraper. If someone walks into the lobby and asks you where the bathroom is, you don't roll out the structural blueprints and explain the load-bearing columns.
Right. No, you just point down the hall.
Exactly, you point down the hall. But if a structural engineer asks you about the building, pointing down the hall just isn't going to cut it. You have to show them the actual foundation.
Because they're asking a fundamentally different question, even if it's about the same building.
Yeah. And we do this exact same thing with truth. I mean, we scale it, we shape it, and we deliver it based entirely on who is asking the question.
Well, the answer has to match the architecture of the person's mind in that exact moment,
Yeah.
Give the blueprints to the person just looking for the bathroom, and they're going to feel totally overwhelmed.
Oh, for sure. Or worse, they're going to feel like you aren't actually listening to what they need at all.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
Which brings us to the mission of our deep dive today. Welcome in, everyone. We are looking at a really fascinating excerpt from a document called The Purpose of Learning, Age-Appropriate Guidance for Parents.
It's a great text.
It really is. And we are looking at how it handles one of the most universal, timeless questions a child can ever ask, which is, why do I have to go to school?
Oh, man, it is a question that demands a real answer. And it's usually dropped on a parent right as they're trying to rush everyone out the door in the morning.
Right, exactly. Get your shoes on. But why do I have to learn? So, okay, let's unpack this. The source material we have today doesn't just give one generic answer to that question.
That it doesn't.
It provides two completely distinct scripts separated by just 3 years of a child's life. So we have the script for a 6-year-old and the script for a 9-year-old.
And our mission here is to explore not just what parents are instructed to say, but why they are instructed to say it.
Yeah, the why is the really cool part.
Right, because buried in these short scripts is this deliberate roadmap of how human psychology and communication shift over time.
It's wild.
We're looking at a text that outlines how the human brain actually begins to demand a different kind of truth as it matures, and it forces the parent or, any communicator to constantly update their approach.
So let's start at the beginning with the 6-year-old. The child asks, why do I have to go to school? And the source document gives the parent this exact script to use. It says, school helps your brain grow stronger. You learn how to read, solve problems, and understand the world.
Notice how physical that phrasing is.
Yeah, it really feels like a physical fitness pitch. You're looking at a 6-year-old and essentially telling them that school is a gym for their brain.
A brain gym, exactly.
You go there, you lift the heavy mental weights, and you get stronger. It's highly, highly concrete.
Well, by mapping the abstract concept of learning onto the physical concept of growing stronger, you're translating a really complex idea into a language they speak fluently.
Because they understand physical growth.
Right. At 6 years old, a child's entire reference point for progress is physical. I mean, they understand growing taller, they understand running faster, they understand muscles.
Yeah.
They don't quite have the cognitive hardware yet to process, long-term socioeconomic benefits. But they completely understand the mechanics of becoming physically stronger than they were yesterday.
Wait, let me push back a little on the second half of that script, though, because the progression it gives the parent is you learn how to read, solve problems, and understand the world. That escalating sequence just seems incredibly grand. I mean, going from sounding out the alphabet to understanding the world, isn't that a bit heavy for a 6-year-old to actually grasp?
Well, what's fascinating here is the specific guidance the document attaches to this age group. Right below the script, there is this instruction for the parent that clarifies the intent. It says, simply, focus on empowerment.
In fact,
Yes, empowerment. At age 6, the child is often stepping into a formal, structured institution for the very first time. And the world is massive, it's loud, and it's run by giants.
yeah, adults are huge.
Exactly. So the primary psychological goal of the parent's answer isn't to provide this philosophically watertight argument about the purpose of education.
Yeah.
The goal is to make the child feel capable, to give them a sense of armor. That progression from reading to solving problems to understanding the world, it isn't meant to be a literal syllabus.
Oh, I see.
It's a psychological roadmap designed to build a sense of personal power and agency.
It's entirely self-centric then. It's about their brain, their ability to read, their power to solve problems. It places the child as the solitary hero of the story.
Because when a 6-year-old hears understand the world, they aren't conceptualizing global geopolitics or historical trends.
Right, right.
They're thinking about why the sky is blue or why the mud in the backyard gets hard when it dries. They are just trying to conquer their immediate environment.
And the parent's script frames school as the ultimate tool for that conquest.
Exactly. School is the magic key that gives the child the power to decode the mysteries directly in front of them.
Okay, so it's a unilateral pitch all about building up the individual. And that empowerment angle makes total sense for a 6-year-old. I mean, you tell them they're getting a stronger brain and they'll probably, like, flex their head at you.
Yeah, they love that thing.
It gives them immediate utility. But as the document shows us, that utility has a very short shelf life.
Oh, absolutely. The developmental clock just keeps ticking.
Right. So 3 years pass, the child turns 9, and telling a kid they are just growing a stronger brain suddenly stops working.
They see right through it.
Yeah, they roll their eyes. Which leads us to the source's pivot. The updated script for the 9-year-old changes the narrative completely.
It's a huge shift.
When the 9-year-old asks, "Why do I have to go to school?" the parent is instructed to say, and I'll read this exactly, "School teaches knowledge, but it also teaches how to think, work with people, and keep learning your whole life."
That is a severe pivot in tone.
It really is. It moves away from the coach mentality of the 6-year-old script. The coach says, "Go lift weights, get strong."
Right.
This new script is a mentor treating the listener like a junior colleague. It drops the gym analogy entirely. And here's where it gets really interesting. The source provides an explicit rationale for this shift.
Yes, the parent note.
Exactly. The instruction for the parent of a 9-year-old says, "Children this age challenge authority more, answer respectfully."
Let's look really closely at that phrase, challenge authority more.
Yeah, it's so specific.
The text is openly acknowledging a fundamental biological shift in the child's worldview. To understand why this shift is necessary, we have to look at the mechanism of what is actually happening under the hood.
Okay.
At 6, the brain is primarily focused on developing those basic cognitive and motor skills. The parent and the teacher are viewed as kind of infallible. Their word is just the natural law of the universe.
But by 9, the hardware is upgrading.
Oh, rapidly. The brain's executive functioning is developing. A 9-year-old is suddenly capable of perceiving adult hypocrisy.
Oh, wow, yeah.
They start visiting friends' houses and realize that, hey, other families have completely different rules about bedtime or television.
Right, the bubble bursts.
Exactly. They begin to understand that rules are not natural laws like gravity. They are constructs created by people. And people are fallible. They realize the adults are just making it up as they go.
So the illusion of infallible authority shatters. They naturally start pushing boundaries because they realize the boundaries are, well, negotiable.
And because the child is pushing those boundaries, the parental strategy must change. You can no longer rely on unilateral empowerment.
Right, you can't just say, "Do it for your brain."
Exactly. If you just say, do this to get a strong brain, the 9-year-old skeptic is going to demand proof. They require a transition from a unilateral directive to a conversation based on mutual respect.
You know, I want to introduce a different way to think about this pivot. Beyond just outgrowing the brain gym, think of it like learning to play a complex board game.
Okay, I like that.
At age 6, you are basically just playing with the pieces. You're moving the little car around the board, you like the colors, you're having fun rolling the dice. That is the concrete, tactile experience.
Right.
But by age 9, you suddenly start realizing there is a bank. You notice other players are hoarding the fake money. You realize there are complex rules governing how the players interact.
Yes.
You transition from playing with the pieces to actually perceiving the system of the game.
That perfectly captures the shift in the document's curriculum. Just look at the specific words in the 9-year-old script. It completely abandons concrete solitary skills like read and your brain.
Yeah, they're gone.
It replaces them with abstract, highly social concepts, how to think, work with people. The text is moving the child out of their solitary hero's journey and placing them squarely into the complex system of the board game.
The phrase, "work with people," is such a crucial addition. I mean, at 6, the world was an object to be studied. By 9, the world is suddenly full of other people that you have to figure out how to collaborate with, or, at the very least, figure out how to tolerate.
Which is the exact realization a 9-year-old is having in the schoolyard.
Oh, definitely.
They are navigating cliques, they are doing group projects, they are dealing with playground politics. The source text brilliantly aligns the stated purpose of school with the child's current, most pressing reality dealing with other human beings.
It also expands their temporal horizon. Like the script adds the phrase, keep learning your whole life.
Yes.
You would never use the phrase your whole life with a 6-year-old. To a 6-year-old, the concept of next Tuesday is a blurry, distant future.
Totally.
But a 9-year-old is just beginning to grasp the architecture of time. They can actually conceptualize their own future as an adult.
It is a massive conceptual expansion. The script is treating them as an individual who exists within society and within time.
So what does this all mean? Let's actually put these two approaches side by side and debate the mechanics of this, because I want to play devil's advocate for a second.
Go for it.
If the true value of school is really about learning how to think and working with people, like we explicitly tell the 9-year-old, wasn't it also about that when they were 6?
Yeah.
I mean, group time on the rug, sharing crayons, waiting your turn in line, that is the very definition of working with people. So why hide the ball from the 6-year-old? Are we just manipulating them with the brain gym narrative? Does simplifying a concept fundamentally alter the truth of it?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the source text isn't suggesting that we hide the ball, nor is it suggesting manipulation.
Okay.
It is demonstrating that truth isn't just about raw factual accuracy.
Mm-hmm.
Truth also has to have utility for the listener.
The utility of the message depends entirely on the listener's cognitive architecture.
Precisely. If you sit down with a 6-year-old and say, school is an institution designed to teach you how to think critically and collaborate with society over the span of your lifetime, you haven't given them the truth.
No, you've just confused them.
You have given them noise. They physically do not have the neural pathways to process or apply those concepts.
Yeah.
The message fails. So the document instructs the parent to give them the truth they can actually use in that developmental moment.
Which is that learning is a tool for personal strength.
Exactly.
But by 9, keeping up the brain gym narrative feels patronizing.
Because the 9-year-old has outgrown that utility. They have realized they exist within a larger hierarchy. Hence, the instruction that they challenge authority.
Right.
If you keep giving them the 6-year-old answer, they will recognize that you are either oblivious to their new capacity or you are intentionally talking down to them.
And either way, you lose their trust.
Exactly. You lose them. The purpose of learning must be reframed as a tool for navigating that hierarchy and enduring through time. You aren't lying to the 6-year-old. You are simply updating the software of your explanation to match the hardware upgrade of their brain.
That makes the phrasing in the 9-year-old script even more interesting. School teaches knowledge, but that specific structure stands out to me.
Yeah, the but is important.
It's almost a concession by the parent. Like, yes, I know you think school is just memorizing state capitals and multiplication tables. That's the knowledge part. But let me show you the deeper layer. It's actually about how to think and deal with people.
It is absolutely a concession, and it serves a critical psychological function. It validates their skepticism.
Validation.
Yeah, the 9-year-old is looking at their homework and thinking, why am I memorizing this? I have a calculator. This is useless. The parent is instructed to lean into that skepticism
Oh, that's smart.
by saying, school teaches knowledge, but the parent is signaling, you are right to question the surface level. Your skepticism is valid. Now, let me treat you like an adult and show you the actual machinery. That is the essence of what the document means when it says to answer respectfully.
It's acknowledging that the child has leveled up, and therefore the conversation must level up. And, this is exactly why you, listening to this deep dive right now, should care about the mechanics of this document, even if you have absolutely nothing to do with 6-year-olds or 9-year-olds.
Oh, the implications of this framework extend far beyond parenting. The core tension this document addresses is something we navigate constantly in adult life.
Think about it in the context of the workplace. Say you are a manager trying to explain a major structural change in your company.
Okay.
If you explain the policy to an entry-level intern using the exact same script you used to explain it to the vice president of operations, you are going to fail.
Miserably.
Not because the policy changes, but because the utility of the truth is different for each of them.
Right, the intern needs to know how the policy impacts their immediate daily tasks. They need the empowerment script.
Exactly.
The vice president needs to understand the long-term strategic pivot and how it affects interdepartmental collaboration. They need the navigate the system script.
Or imagine you are a public health official trying to communicate a new safety guideline to a divided public. Or even just you, trying to explain a radical career pivot to your parents. What this document proves is that having the factually correct answer in your head is entirely insufficient.
The burden of communication is always on the speaker, to ensure the message could be received.
You have to tailor your answer to the psychological stage, and specifically the skepticism level of the person standing right in front of you.
Yeah.
If you give a 6-year-old's answer to a 9-year-old audience, they will revolt. They will challenge your authority because you haven't shown them the baseline respect of matching their cognitive complexity.
The shift from empowerment to respectful answers requires the speaker to have profound empathy for the listener's worldview.
Empathy, yeah.
To use this guidance effectively, a parent has to remember what it physically feels like to be overwhelmed by the immediate world. Then they have to remember what it feels like to be 9, suddenly aware of the hypocrisy and complexity of the adult world.
That's a lot of perspective taking.
It is. Empathy is the mechanism that allows the translation of truth to happen.
And it makes you wonder about the long-term trajectory of that evolution. I mean, we have spent this deep dive exploring how drastically the concept of why we learn evolves in just a 3-year window.
Right.
We watched it go from grow a strong brain to navigate society for your whole life. We went from the lobby bathroom sign to the structural blueprints. But it leaves me with this final lingering thought for you to consider today.
The evolution of skepticism doesn't stop at age 9.
Not at all. If we applied this exact same framework of expanding horizons, acknowledging skepticism, and adjusting for mutual respect, how would this document instruct us to answer that exact same question, why do I have to keep learning, for a 15-year-old?
Oh, wow.
Their skepticism of authority would be at an absolute peak. The blueprints would have to get infinitely more complex. Or better yet, how would it instruct us to answer that question for a 40-year-old?
The context of the question changes, but the core need for a functional truth remains.
Because the truth is, we never really stop asking why we have to keep doing the hard work of learning or adapting or showing up. We just stop asking it out loud as we get older.
Yeah, that's so true.
So the next time you find yourself staring at a difficult problem or a new system and asking yourself why, remember that the right answer depends entirely on the architecture of your own mind and what kind of truth you're actually ready to hear.